welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching World Today. We begin this evening with a very fiery war of words between Pakistani delegation and the Indian counterpart that is in the United States of America. The Indian delegation led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor met Vice President of the United States of America, J.D. Vance, today. Labeling it an excellent meeting, Shashi Tharoor posted on social media X, and I quote, "We had comprehensive discussions covering a wide array of critical issues, from counter-terrorism efforts to enhancing technological cooperation. A truly constructive and productive exchange for strengthening India-US strategic partnership with a great meeting of minds." Now, this is the highest level of meeting that India has secured, and Pakistan is yet to secure any such high-level meeting in Washington, D.C. Now, both India and Pakistan delegations are in Washington, D.C. and are having multilateral as well as bilateral meetings, trying to put forward their individual agenda. Former Pakistan Foreign Minister and PPP Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is leading the Pakistani delegation, and he has been peddling his own claims as the worst victim of terror to claiming UN-designated terrorists as innocent with the same name, and has even offered talks between their intelligence wing, the ISI, and India's RNAW. Shashi Tharoor, as the leader of the Indian delegation, has debunked and replied to each of the misinformation with logic and scathing clarity. Listen in to each of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's claims and Shashi Tharoor's response to those claims.
Pakistan's position today is that we would like to have a comprehensive dialogue with India that of course discusses the issue of terrorism. Pakistan is a victim of terrorism. The single largest number of terrorist attacks that takes place in any one country is Pakistan. The single largest number of victims of terrorism is Pakistan.
This is not about India and Pakistan. This is about India and terrorism inflicted on India. So India will act against terror, wherever it comes from. If it's coming from Pakistan, tough. They should deal with their own problems. And then they're going around, I understand, this delegation, saying, oh, but we are also victims of terrorism. We have lost more lives to terrorism than India has, and so on. The question we turn around and say, whose fault is that? As Hillary Clinton famously said 10 years ago, what did she say? You can't breed vipers in your backyard and expect it to bite only your neighbors. It's the old classic lesson of Dr. Frankenstein. You build a monster, it leaves your control. That's why they're now getting terrorist attacks by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. But who created the Taliban from which the Tehreek-e-Taliban broke off? We all know the answer to that.
They go around and they show a picture of a man with a beard leading funeral prayers. And this delegation goes around violently sort of shoves this picture in everybody's face. And they say, look, this guy is a terrorist. And the fact of the matter is, this man is not a terrorist. Pakistan is proof. He happens to have a name similar to one of the sanctioned people, but he's not.
Frankly, until and unless there is a serious effort being made by Pakistan to dismantle the infrastructure of terrorism, to arrest some of the well-known figures who are on not only the United Nations Committee's list, but even in the US State Department's designated terrorist list. If they can't be arrested, if their bank accounts can't be frozen, if their training academies, training camps can't be shut down, if all of these things won't be done by Pakistan, why should we talk to them?
Actually will be more effective would be if Pakistan and India were to work together to combat terrorism. I am completely confident that if ISI and RAW sat down and worked together to fight these forces, we would see a significant decrease in terrorism both within India and Pakistan. At the moment, Pakistan is willing to put all cards on the table. We're saying, let's talk about terrorism. Let's talk about Kashmir. Let's talk about water. Let's make peace. We're not shying away from any investigation, in fact, despite having no legal obligation under international law. We presented ourselves for international accountability because of the confidence we had that our hands were clean.
Each delegation is functioning in the spirit of a bilateral dialogue with the country concerned. And every time that anybody asks, and that includes on the Hill, Will you talk to the Pakistanis, or would mediation help so you can promote dialogue? Our answer is very clear. We cannot talk to people who are pointing a gun at our heads. It's very simple. I mean, if your neighbor attacks your children with their attack dogs and then says, let's talk, will you talk to them until they put away the attack dogs, or euthanize them, or lock them up in a kennel, or leash them at least? They've done none of those things. So for us, the message was very clear. No, we're not going to talk. And the reason we're not going to talk is because of the way they're behaving, not because we don't like to talk. I often say we can talk to Pakistan in practically every language they speak there. We have no shortage of, we don't need a third party to come between us and help us talk to them. But we won't talk to them until they give us some indication that they're worth talking to.
Well, that's the face-off. But from the stage of the United Nations, former Pakistani Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari once again defended Hafiz Abdul Rauf, a proscribed terrorist named by the United Nations as well. The man seen leading funeral prayers after India's airstrikes on terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir under Operation Sindoor, claiming he is not a terrorist, repeating a line earlier pushed by Pakistan's military media wing, ISPR, or Inter-Services Public Relations. Pakistan continues to face backlash for attempting to mislead the international community regarding the presence of a US-designated terrorist at the funeral in Muridke, a known Lashkar-e-Toiba stronghold. Photographic evidence shared by India, including by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, clearly showed Hafiz Abdul Rauf leading the prayers with uniformed Pakistani army and police officers in attendance. Bhutto argued that Rauf merely shares a name with a sanctioned terrorist. Let's debunk this claim with facts. Now, ISPR's own evidence has contradicted this claim. A computerized national identity card shared by the ISPR showed a date of birth and identification number that exactly matched those on the US Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, list of designated global terrorists. In fact, the organization is also under FTO, Foreign Terrorist Organizations and Entities. The CNIC, that's the National Identity Number, also confirms Rauf is affiliated with the Pakistan Markazi Muslim League, which is a political front for Lashkar-e-Toiba, the successor to MML, both parties designated by the US as fronts of Lashkar-e-Toiba on the 2nd of April 2018. Rohit Sharma joining us from DC for more on this. Clearly, the Pakistani establishment stands exposed, but in terms of the level of engagements that both delegations are securing, Rohit, you've been interacting with the Indian delegation, and now they have managed to secure one of the highest levels of meetings, that with Vice President J.D. Vance. So what is expected now of the kind of delegation level meetings that we are seeing as compared to what Pakistan is receiving in Washington, D.C.?
Well, look, there's a difference of day and light, Geeta. Yes, the Pakistani delegation has been able to secure some meetings with a few senators and a member of the House on the Hill. But it has been, and this was the question that I asked Mr. Tharoor yesterday, and he pointed out to the level of delegation and the meetings we are getting, and he sort of talked about it last night as well, that there will be more meetings to come. And he obviously did not say that he was going to be meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance. But if you look at that picture, that you're showing right now, I mean, all these members have met at least more than 20 people on the Hill talking about India's stand on this and making it clear that India stands against terror. I think Shashi Tharoor has said it time and again during these meetings that India is not in a conflict with Pakistan. India is a conflict with terrorism. And frankly, Pakistan should talk about curbing terrorism. And given the delegation's ongoing, diplomatic engagement, even with Vice President J.D. Vance, I think it's reasonable to infer that the critical issue of curbing terrorism would have come up in this meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance also. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Right, Rohit, just wanted to know on the issue of terrorism. Now, Pakistan is peddling the kind of claims that we are seeing from Bilawal, saying that the man India is showing in photographs is not Abdul Hafiz Rauf, the man who actually has been proscribed by Washington, D.C. itself, not just the United Nations or other world bodies.
And that tells you, Geeta, what a difficult job has the Pakistani army, cut out for Bilawal Bhutto. I mean, frankly, he's out here making fool of himself, and he's probably, serving these talking points on the Hill. I don't think how many people can take him seriously when he's talking about that. The fact is, he has. I mean, I don't think he has any control over what his meetings are, what he's going to say. He's just being given some talking points, and he's presenting those again, mostly to the Pakistani press and through social media. As far as his other engagements are concerned, Geeta, we know that he was talking at one of the little-known think tanks yesterday that he was promoting on his social media. But I think India has clearly a very upper hand in this, and has made it very clear that our side of the story is heard by everybody and agreed to by everybody who are the policymakers in Washington, D.C., Geeta.
Well, that's a very important point you make. You've also been interviewing and talking to the members of the Indian delegation. We've been reporting all of that. You keep track on what's happening with the delegation in Washington, D.C. For now, thank you so much, Rohit, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, US President Donald Trump on Thursday, for the first time, has made it official. Is there a breakup in the Trump-Musk bromance when he said that he's very disappointed in Elon Musk? This comes within a week of Tesla CEO's exit from the government. And immediately Musk posted on X saying that the contentious bill was never shown to him. Take a listen.
Well, look, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot. And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy.
Well, Elon Musk has indeed slammed the president and almost has demanded that EV and solar incentive cuts have to be added to the bill. What began as a high-dollar alliance between Elon Musk and Donald Trump has devolved into a very public feud, only fueled by policy betrayal, collapsing business interests, and Musk's dire warning that America is headed toward debt slavery.
Elon Musk, a tech billionaire and the richest man in the world, was enlisted by Donald Trump to head his government reform effort.
His name is Elon Musk. He saved free speech. He created so many different great things. Where is he? Come on up here, Elon. He created the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight!
Musk went from boardroom to politics, offering financial firepower, campaign showmanship, and political loyalty. He opened his money reserves, promising $1 million every day till elections to one of those who signed his online petition pledging support for the First and Second Amendments. Rallies, primetime appearances, even Thanksgiving with the Trumps. Musk became the unofficial face of Trump 2.0.
And I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it, perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
Trump handed Musk sweeping powers under the DOGE, the specially created Department of Government Efficiency. He wielded the axe and a broom, quickly shedding government jobs and even closing entire departments, including the massive US aid, which had a budget of $22 billion in 2024. But the political honeymoon didn't last. Backlash grew. Protesters branded Musk a fascist puppet. Tesla stock wobbled. There were also rumors of Musk in drugs, but Trump stood by Musk.
Were you aware of Elon Musk's regular drug use?
No, I wasn't. I think he's fantastic. I think Elon is a fantastic guy. And
are you troubled by these reports?
I'm not troubled by anything with Elon. I think he's fantastic. Did a great job. And, you know, DOGE continues. And by the time it's finished, we'll have numbers that'll knock your socks off. It's going to be, he did a fantastic job. And he didn't need it. He didn't need to do it. How do you replace it?
Do you feel final? Has it been finalized?
Easily replaced. He really is.
Things were, however, unraveling fast behind the closed doors. Then came the breaking point. Musk turned on a Trump-backed spending bill, publicly calling it a disgusting abomination, saying the bill would bankrupt America and negate the purpose of DOGE. Inside Trump world, aides saw the tweets term as betrayal, and then came the final blow from Musk himself.
That this is not the end of DOGE, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that it comes with a time limit. But the DOGE team will only grow stronger over time. The DOGE influence will only grow stronger.
Elon Musk, once MAGA's Dark Knight, was now publicly calling out the Trump administration on the new spending bill. An alliance forged in populism, fractured by policy, power and pride. Trump still praises him in public, but Musk, it seems, is done playing along. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
Now, in a span of 24 hours, US President Donald Trump has spoken to two world leaders, Putin and Xi Jinping, with Putin mentioning the fact that Kremlin acknowledges the ceasefire was brokered by none other than Donald Trump. On the other hand, with Xi Jinping, the phone call intended to hash out differences on tariffs that have roiled the global economy. Chinese news agency Xinhua reported that the phone talks were at Trump's request, and the conversation was confirmed by the Chinese Foreign Ministry. Now, President Donald Trump on Truth Social posted saying US and Chinese teams will meet shortly after he and Chinese leader Xi Jinping discussed trade on a phone call.
We had a very good conversation with President Xi a little while ago. We had a very good talk, and we've straightened out any complexity. It's very complex stuff, and we straightened it out. The agreement was we're going to have Scott and Howard and Jameson will be going and meeting with their top people and continue it forward. But no, I think we have everything. I think we're in very good shape with China and the trade deal. We have a deal with China, as you know, but we were straightening out some of the points, having to do mostly with rare earth, magnets, and some other things. Yeah, we have the deal. I mean, we've had a deal. We announced the deal, and we'll be I guess you could say, I wouldn't even say finalizing it up, Scott. I would say we have a deal and we're going to just make sure that everybody understands what the deal is. We had a really good conversation. By the way, he invited me to China and I invited him here. We both accepted. So I'll be going there with the First Lady at a certain point, and he'll be coming here hopefully with the First Lady of China.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has rejected Ukraine's proposals for a ceasefire or a summit, saying who would negotiate with those who rely on terror. That's Kremlin's message. Putin was briefed online on Wednesday by his aide Vladimir Medinsky, who led the Russian delegation to Istanbul earlier this week for direct talks with Ukrainian officials. Medinsky said the Ukrainian side had proposed a 30 or 60-day unconditional ceasefire to prepare for a summit between Putin and his counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky. Putin noted that the blowing up of bridges in western Russian regions of Bryansk and Kursk over the weekend left 7 people dead and many others injured. He said it was undoubtedly a terrorist attack.
Но как же проводить в этих условиях подобные встречи? О чем говорить? Кто вообще ведет переговоры с теми, кто делает ставку на террор, с террористами? И за что их поощрять, предоставляя передышку в боевых действиях, которая будет использована для накачки режима западным оружием, для продолжения насильственной мобилизации и подготовки других террористических актов, подобных тем, которые были осуществлены в Брянской и Курской областях.
That's all in this edition of World Today. But before we go, we leave you with a latest Tech Explainer story about what happens when AI models need more power. Tech giants turn to an unlikely ally, nuclear energy. Meta's latest deal could reshape the future of clean tech. Here's Cyrus with more on this. Goodbye and take care.
Now, I need to tell you something because it's important for context what I'm about to tell you. When you are creating images using artificial intelligence, do you know how much power it takes up? It's almost as much as what you would require to charge your smartphones. Yes, for some AI models, it is important, because of which these AI companies are tapping into a new form of energy. Now, Meta, the same company that owns Instagram, has signed a 20-year deal with a company called Constellation Energy to supply nuclear power to power its AI innovations, its AI models, and that is where this entire artificial intelligence game is heading. Now, remember, nuclear power is carbon-free. There are a lot of benefits, but to produce it also has its challenges, because AI cluster farms, these GPUs, require a lot of power, and right now it's taking a toll on the power grid across the world. And companies like ChatGPT's OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, a lot of these companies are investing in nuclear energy to power their GPUs, to power their AI, and that is where this entire game is going to change. Now, Meta's deal is quintessential because, remember, a lot of people are revolting against this. Nuclear energy has its repercussions. There's also the concern for radioactive waste. Where is all of this infrastructure going to come from? And some of these concerns, while these companies are trying to address, the important thing is clean energy will come from nuclear, and to power the AI revolution, we will need a lot more of these nuclear power plants. So yes, big update for Meta that this partnership with Constellation Energy will be powering its AI innovations in the future. But other companies are also stepping up this game. The question is, where will all of this end, and will conventional energy forms die in the end?